welcome to Wembley, venue today for the Leyland Daft Cup final between the two Rovers, Tranmere and Bristol. We have a brand new trophy to celebrate the occasion, which will be presented to the winners for the first time this afternoon. This is the small cup final, but no change to the atmosphere here at Wembley. Both clubs have brought their full contingent of supporters, and it all adds up to an exciting and entertaining game in prospect. Earlier today, Paul Dempsey was allowed into the Bristol Rovers dressing room, where he met the manager, Jerry Francis.
Jerry, first up, how does it compare taking a team to Wembley as a manager with your appearances here as a player?
I think I'd rather be playing, but it's nice to be back here. It's just a long time since I've been here, 12 years, so it's nice to be back at the old place again.
What does it mean to you as a manager who's had his ups and downs in a very difficult environment at Bristol to take a team here today?
Well, I mean, we've had a good season, you know, won the third division championship, and we're at Wembley, so it's not finished yet, so hopefully today we can go out and do the double.
What do you feel about Rovers? You've beaten them twice in the league. That must be a great source of confidence today.
Yeah, I don't think that matters on the day. It depends who adapts to the situation the best and who plays well on the day. I don't think it matters.
As a manager, what are you looking for from your players today?
I want them to win.
Well, you can't argue with that. The teams, as you can see, already out on the pitch, waiting for the festivities to start. So let's not waste any time at all and join our commentary team, who today are Ron Atkinson and Peter Brackley.
Thank you, Matthew, and good afternoon to you all on the day. The Wembley spotlight falls on two of football's most deserving cases. For the two Rovers, Bristol and Tranmere, the transformation over the past 3 years has been quite extraordinary. Their respective futures could hardly have been bleaker, really. Tranmere, bottom of Division 4, close to liquidation. And Bristol, dubbed the Ragbag Rovers, had no home of their own, with no money to spend and morale rapidly sinking. What a contrasting story then now. Bristol Rovers still without a ground, it's true, but out on the field, well, they've been a revelation. Third division champions, only 5 league defeats all this season. And Tranmere have had an outstanding campaign too. Fourth in the table, leading goal scorers in the entire football league, and with every chance of going up by next week's playoff final, also here at Wembley. And the success of the two teams bears testimony, of course, to the expertise of the two managers. Jerry Francis, we saw there, the former England captain of Bristol Rovers, and Johnny King, the wily old fox, who's revitalised football at Tranmere's Prenton Park. And the guest of honour today, Sir Stanley Matthews, being presented here to the two teams, starting with Tranmere Rovers, leading them along the line, their captain, Jimmy Harvey. Marvellous to see Sir Stanley here at Wembley, 75 years old now, 54 England caps, and one of the great servants to English footballs this century. Young Sean Garnett there, being introduced to Sir Stanley. And there's Johnny King, the manager, who's done an incredible job really turning things around at Prenton Park. So now across to Bristol Rovers. Over 30,000 have followed Rovers from the West Country in support of their team here. Their captain is the Welshman, Vaughan Jones. Also along the line, that's Phil Purnell, Devon White. And there's a great atmosphere in the stadium today, and certainly a crowd, I would think, of around 65,000. Many of them decked out in blue and white, the colours, of course, of Bristol Rovers. It's quite a scene at Wembley for the final of the Leyland Daft. These two teams who battled through. It's the third and fourth divisions cup, of course. Various other officials taking part in the presentation from the Football League and from Leyland Daft, and also Michael Sinclair, chairman of the third and fourth divisions. As we await now then the anthems, and the atmosphere builds now towards the kick-off.
Will you kindly stand for the national anthem?
So here we go then. We can take a look now at the two sides taking part in this final. Here's the Bristol Rovers lineup. In goal is Brian Parkin, who's proved himself a most able successor to Nigel Martin, now of course with Crystal Palace. Four at the back. On the right, Ian Alexander. Jeff Twentyman at 31, the oldest man in the side, and alongside him, outstanding young prospect in Steve Yates. And left back, the Rovers captain Vaughan Jones. Four in midfield, although David Mayhew is more of a winger really, and he's got 21 goals this season. The two central midfield players, Ian Holloway and Andy Rees, and out on the left, Phil Purnell. And the two up front, Carl Saunders, one of only two men in the side who actually cost a transfer fee, and alongside him the towering figure of Devon White, a striker you can rest assured will certainly be putting himself about. We'll now look at the Tranmere Rovers side, and their formation is a flexible 5-3-2. Eric Nixon, the former Manchester City man, a most reliable last line of defence for them. Five at the back, but only three outright defenders. On the flanks, young Tony Thomas and Steve Mungle, and they provide extra attacking options. Steve Vickers and Sean Garnett are the markers. Garnett standing in for Dave Higgins, who's suspended, and Mark Hughes is the Tranmere sweeper. The midfield trio, Chris Malkin, very positive, pacey runner on the flank. He's got 24 goals this season. Neil McNabb and Jimmy Harvey, two very experienced players in the midfield. And the two strikers, Jim Steele, a big, aggressive front player, and Ian Muir, who's had a record-breaking season for Tranmere, the number 10. He scored 34 goals in all competitions. So those are the two lineups. The referee is in the centre circle now, Vic Callow, just waiting for the two captains to arrive. So alongside me in the commentary box here is Sean Atkinson. Ron, I wonder what your feelings are about this final.
Well, I think the first thing to say is the tremendous atmosphere. You know, everybody tends to write these sort of matches off as no hope sort of matches, but tremendous atmosphere, particularly from the Bristol fans. If you look at the comparisons in style, which I think are going to be very, very interesting, Bristol Rovers are a type of wear them down side. They'll go, as you said, a lot off the front man, off Devon White, get support up to him from Mayhew and Saunders. I think you'll find that Tranmere will play a more steady, more composed, more cultured style with McNabb and Harvey influencing the midfield very, very much so. Both experienced players, both capable of dominating the game here.
Neil McNabb has played in the First Division. Jimmy Harvey did as well for Arsenal a few seasons back. Neil McNabb, who was signed earlier in the season, back in January, in fact, from Manchester City, he's the man who can really make Tranmere tick and just might be the man for the big occasion. And, of course, on the bench for Tranmere, old super sub Ron, David Fairclough.
That's right. I think the last time I saw him play was here in a Liverpool side against when I was at United in the League Cup final.
So often he seemed to come on and score spectacular goals, but his career never quite took off. He's been playing in Belgium for Beveren and a little spell in Switzerland too, and he's not really forced his way, on a regular basis anyway, into the Tranmere side. But these fans from Bristol, that's quite incredible. They sold over 30,000 tickets, Bristol Rovers, and in fact there was such a demand for tickets, they had to open up a local church hall to help sell them all. Did wonders for the meeting of the Townswomen's Guild too, I expect. David Mayhew, rather that was Steve Yates. This is Carl Saunders here. Steve Yates, the young man I mentioned earlier on, who's become such a key player at the back for Bristol Rovers. Carl Saunders, they'll be looking to him for the goals up front. And that's an incredible turnout, really, for this cup final. And the noise really echoing around the old stadium now. Tranmere Rovers in the all-white strip to kick off. Well, they're all shouting, "Come on, Rovers," so it's not easy to tell who's shouting the loudest. Rovers in the blue and white, Tranmere in the all-white, and away we go. Here's McNabb. An early chance for him to influence things. Interception, though, by Alexander. Certainly two attack-minded sides. And no one has scored more in the Football League then than Tranmere. 86 goals in the third division. Jimmy Harvey is a cultured player. And it was a scything tackle then by Alexander. So the first free kick of the game awarded to Tranmere. Vic Callow, a very experienced referee. And Jerry Francis, the old England man. Well, there's some speculation about whether Jerry will be staying on for Bristol Rovers. There's talk of him perhaps going abroad or to a bigger club. But there are 30,000 people here in the stadium hoping he'll be staying with Bristol Rovers. A bad tackle then by Alexander on Steve Mungle. And Steve Mungle had been a doubt anyway beforehand, and perhaps he's got an injury as well that might ruin his progress in this game. Certainly needing some attention in these early minutes of the game, these tense opening minutes.
Yes, that'll be an important position for Tranmere, the left side of their, well, virtually of their midfield, although he's number 3, because he'll be asked to carry the fight along the left-hand side. He'll be asked to provide both a midfield and a winger-type role.
This is Muir trying to turn Yates on the edge of the area. Oh, he nearly did so too. Steele, Muir again, got his shot in. Comfortably dealt with though by Parker. And he and Muir a really potent force up front. Here's Purnell. Malkin tackling back. Purnell wide on the left, you'll see him. Busy, industrious player. Here's Saunders. Now Purnell. Good play by him. Almost found Saunders then too, and he's won it back well. It's good determination shown by Saunders. And the tackle from Hughes was a fierce one. And a fair one though. And here's Malkin. Twentyman with the tackle on Jim Steele. King, his second spell with Tranmere, hoping to guide them back into the second division for the first time since the late 30s. And that will happen if Tranmere manage to beat Notts County in the promotion playoff here at Wembley next week. And he certainly has dismissed, Johnny King, any suggestion that Tranmere aren't too concerned about the result today. He said it's all about winning. And we want to be in a winning frame of mind when we take on Notts County. And of course, they've an old score to settle too. Bristol Rovers have beaten Tranmere on both occasions that they've met in the league this season. This is Garnett. Big test for him. Brought into the side in place of Steve Higgins, Dave Higgins rather, who's suspended. Holloway, very important in the midfield for Rovers. Here's Saunders now. Good shooting shots. Nixon, oh, just kept it out at the last. A despairing save then by the goalkeeper. And Saunders thought he'd scored then. Certainly the way to goal opened up for him.
Good break from Carl Saunders. As you said earlier, very, very lively player. Keeper's done exceptionally well here. He's parried the first shot. You wonder whether Saunders might have just faced that across the goal to, I think it was Mayhew. But that is tremendous reaction save there, the second one. Nixon is a very, very improved keeper since he was at Manchester City. He had his critics there, but he's worked tremendously hard since coming to Tranmere, and he's one of the better keepers now lower down, I would think.
He trains every week, I know, with Neville Southall, and Neville rates him very highly. And he's talked about him being one of the best in the business now, and he certainly has come on enormously. Eric Nixon, and well, that was an inspired piece of goalkeeping by him then.
It also showed the threat of Carl Saunders, though. I mean, the two central defenders, Vickers and Garnett, have got a tremendous responsibility in there against White and Saunders.
He is so quick, Carl Saunders. He was playing, in fact, in Stoke City's reserves at right back when Joey Francis moved in for him. He was the second purchase that Jerry has made. Twentyman clearing there, and he's been a very good buy indeed.
You know, it's funny how the game goes. A few years ago at Stoke City, we understood he was going to be released. You know, this is once again when I was at Manchester, and we were thinking of taking him in as a squad player at United. You know, just shows how little situations can change for you.
And it's given him a new lease of life, obviously moving to Bristol Rovers, and he responded with, I think, 6 goals in his first half dozen or so matches. And although he's just gone slightly off the boil in terms of scoring goals recently, he's kept up his form. And he has helped steer Bristol Rovers to the 3rd Division Championship. But he certainly looks a much more effective player up front than I would have thought he would have done it right back. But there you are. Mungal. Steele header. Safely through to Brian Parkin.
Yeah, those are situations where Tranmere will be looking either to feed Steele in on the back posts for his work in the air, or to slide little balls into Muir's feet. Muir's not the paciest player in the world, but he is very, very clever and has got great close control.
Saunders. Garnett just got in first. Garnett has only started half a dozen or so matches in Tranmere's first team. And I think at first Johnny King wasn't too anxious to tell him he was playing today, not wanting him to get too nervous. They heard about the suspension, obviously, to Higgins. I think they tried to keep it quiet for a while. And then told Garnett he was in the side, and, well, he'll be relishing this opportunity. Mayhew on for Devon White. Such a powerful leader of the line. Saunders now, more guile about him. Mayhew is very dangerous with those 21 goals this season. But he's mainly a poacher, doesn't often score from long range, but he's very dangerous around the penalty area.
I think he's the type, Peter, as the game develops, you'll see him supporting the front two more and more. Interesting thing watching it now, every long goal kick from Parkin, both White and Sanders get very, very close together, and in fact, the Tranmere sweeper, Marcus Hughes, doesn't really get round.
Well, there we are, that's the position. That's how they finish at the top of the 3rd Division. Bristol Rovers, the champions. Tranmere in 4th place, and they rather lost their way in the last few matches, Tranmere. At one stage, they were looking near certainties to go off in those, or one of those 2 automatic positions. And in the end, it was the 2 Bristol clubs who made it. Some pushing there, so free kick to Tranmere.
I think that is a classic tactic that Bristol will use. They'll flight things on top of Devon White. They'll get Carl Sanders and Mayhew very, very close to him to pick up all the little things that fall down of him. I mean, what is he, 6'4"? He's obviously going to win his fair percentage of aerial stuff.
And if he doesn't make it, they've got a chap on the bench called McLean, Chris McLean, who's 6'5", so they've got an option there. Here's Harvey. Hughes is the sweeper in the Tranmere side. Vaughan Jones away for Bristol Rovers. So a fairly open contest so far, and certainly the best chance falling to Carl Saunders of Bristol Rovers. McNabb with the throw. Here's Hughes. Intelligent player. Looking there for Steele and Malkin. And here's Muir. Hits it well, and a goal! Glorious strike by Ian Muir. That's the confidence that scoring 34 goals gives you. And didn't he put that one away superbly then? Half a smile no more from Johnny King. A long, long way to go yet, but that's a great start for Tranmere Rovers.
I think this epitomises Ian Muir. Little ball bowling about, doesn't take any time. He's got very, very good feet, one touch. Keeper may be a bit disappointed he didn't quite make on that one, but an excellent finish from the Tranmere striker.
Malkin did well to knock it back into the path of Ian Muir, and that was sweetly tucked away past Brian Barkin. Very sharp finishing.
Full of confidence, Peter. 34 goals or something under his belt. Doesn't worry about those when they come out the air, he just hits them.
So, Tranmere have taken the lead. Bristol Rovers with that early chance for Saunders, but now it's Ian Muir who has scored the first goal of the game.
That'll have pleased his old mentor as well. As I see it, in fact I saw him on the motorway today, Frank Worthington. I know he had great faith in him when he bought him. I think he bought him from Brighton or somewhere like that.
I think you say bought, I think it was a free transfer actually, so that was quite an acquisition for Tranmere. And Ian Muir has broken the club's all-time goal-scoring record. He's also scored the most in one season. So it's turning into quite a campaign for him. Bristol Rovers, rest assured, will fight back And so often in matches, Bristol's fitness has paid off dividends towards the end of matches. They come back and score goals towards the end.
Yeah, if they're looking for omens, didn't they take the lead in that last league game, Tranmere?
They did, and Ian Muir scored the goal. And I think roughly the same time as well, so who knows, perhaps history might repeat itself. Hughes. Now here's Rees for Bristol Rovers. Finding Vaughan Jones, the captain. Malkin in very strongly. Off he goes again. He really is extremely quick, this fellow. He reckons he can do 100 metres in just over, a shade over 11 seconds, so that's pretty quick. So the Tranmere supporters with plenty to celebrate so far. Outnumbered, I would think, quite considerably by the Bristol Rovers fans. But now those Tranmere supporters making themselves heard around Wembley Stadium.
It's noticeable that Holloway and Rees aren't prepared to give any ground at all. Harvey and McNabb are going to have to work hard for the space this afternoon.
That's in the centre of the midfield. Harvey and McNabb, two extremely skillful players, but Bristol Rovers have got a couple of terriers in there, in Rees and Holloway, both of whom have been most instrumental in Rovers' success. Bristol, that is. Now Muir, scorer of the first goal. It's Thomas tangling with Yates. Two young players who are attracting a lot of interest from bigger clubs. Young Steve Yates here, just 20 years old. He's played at the back alongside Jeff Twickenham throughout the season. And Rovers have a tremendous defensive record. Vaughan Jones looking for Devon White. Garnett got it away. And Nixon able to collect. The pitch looks absolutely immaculate, Ron, but I wonder about the weather. It's going to be very hot out there, and the pitch is bound to be tiring for the players as the game wears on.
That's right. Theoretically, it should suit Tranmere better than Bristol, because obviously Bristol use an awful lot of energy the way they play, whereas Tranmere, when they get control of the game, do play at a little bit more of a measured pace.
And that pass was only just measured back to Brian Parkin.
You saw the Predators' instincts, though, by Muir, didn't you? As soon as he saw Vaughan Jones turn to even play that one back, he was on his way trying to anticipate the back pass. Only just short as well.
The timely intervention initially by Vickers. McNabb's pass. McNabb again.
Goals had a good effect as well on Tranmere. I thought they looked a little bit edgy at first. I thought actually Bristol had settled to their task better till the goal, but they seem as if they've started to bed down a little bit now.
But as we were saying earlier on, up at Fenton Park in the league match just a few weeks ago, Ian Muir gave Tranmere the lead. Bristol came back with 2 goals to win it and went on to the championship, and Tranmere really struggled from there on. Devon White with Garnett. That's Hughes just getting in before Holloway. Hughes, who's wearing a plaster cast on his arm, he fractured the arm a few weeks ago, so he's wearing that protective covering. There it is. Now Steele. Muir's pass, well cut out though. 15 minutes into the first half.
I think one pleasing thing for both managers, neither team seems to be inhibited at all by the occasion.
Certainly not Tranmere Rovers, who lead by the only goal so far, scored by Ian Muir. And the wrestling match produces a free kick for Bristol Rovers.
Often there's a danger in a game like this that teams try to change their natural style, thinking they're playing at Wembley and they have to do something different. So that's not apparent at the moment. Both sides are playing the way they've played all season to get here.
Tony Thomas Getting a ticking off from the referee. Wears number 11, but operates really as a right back, a very much attack-minded one, though. Hughes away, powerfully, but only as far as Alexander. Devon White down the middle, didn't really time his jump. Mayhew, and of the two number 5s, Hughes came out on top.
Yeah, he'll have to do that an awful lot this afternoon, Hughes, because as the spare man at the back, it's obvious White is going to win his fair percentage of aerial battles, and he's got to look for what we call the little second balls, the knockdowns, and all the little scratchings that fall down from a defensive point of view.
A test here again, and over the bar, only just. Mayhew in the right place again. He's so often lurking in menacing positions.
Good chance there. You see the threat of the big man in the air. I mean, no matter how you defend, whether you mark in front or mark behind it, if the throw is right, and the fella's got the aerial advantage, there's always going to be some sort of a touch on. And very unlucky that, actually.
Got up extremely well then, Devon White. So Bristol Rovers on their mettle, on their game. And this has every prospect of being an absorbing final. Off Thomas for a throw to Bristol Rovers, who lost only one of their last 27 matches in all competitions. Astonishing finale to the season for them. And here's Saunders, who's posing a lot of problems up front. Flags up for offside. Just take that opportunity you're on to offer our commiserations to you on Sheffield Wednesday being relegated. And I know you don't want to think about it too much, but just one little story you can tell us about when you went on holiday to get away from it all.
Aye, that's right. We went to Spain to get the lads away from it all very, very quickly. And second day there, we're walking down the street. Weather's awful, so we're all in a bad mood. Everything's awful. And the first thing we do is bump into the Luton Town players walking down the same street.
And then you switched the television on. Go on.
Oh, then I put the telly on, and they said instead of tonight's advertised programme, we'll in fact show the game of Sheffield Wednesday versus Nottingham Forest, which was in fact the game that put us down. So you can imagine that was a really, really good holiday.
So you sat and watched that, I suppose?
Oh, sure.
Never mind, Ron, you'll bounce back if I know you. Here's Holloway now. In for Saunders. He's got Mayhew up with it too. Here's Rees. Tumble in the penalty area. Half-hearted appeals for penalty. Nothing too serious as Purnell went down.
No, never a suggestion that, actually, but it is impressive the way now that the Bristol team are trying to get midfield players forward, sometimes even past the strikers. They do look as if they've got a lot of industry and energy in the middle of the field.
Now here's Muir, full of confidence as you'd expect. McNabb now. Malkin went through the middle, and that's good play by McNabb. Now can Thomas get his cross in here? Malkin at the far post, off the line, and again they're claiming the penalty at the other end now.
No, I think you'll find that wasn't a penalty, Peter. That was definitely on the lad's chest. But what a beautiful build-up from Tranmere then. McNabb holds the ball, times his pass really right into the run of Thomas, who's made the break from a deep position. Good ball in. And Malkin, no, off his chest. But a very, very good counter-attack from Tranmere Rovers.
But they're under pressure now at the other end. Alexander to take the throw. And how evenly matched these two teams are, almost at the midway point in the first half. Mayhew. Support from Alexander. It's a teasing cross, but Nixon holding on well. And he does look a very confident goalkeeper. That's how it stands then. Bristol Rovers 0, Tranmere Rovers 1. 20 minutes played. McNabb. Here's Harvey. Mayhew's pass for Saunders to run onto. Hughes was there. Here he is again. Good layoff by Steele. Harvey's down injured, not featuring in this move. And Alex Twentyman, rather, steering it all the way back to Brian Parkin.
I think Harvey found out there that if he dwells on the ball too long, he's going to get very, very much crowded and pressured by both Rees and Holloway.
Harvey. Purnell, good covering by him. The two number 11s. And Purnell warmly applauded by the crowd. That's good defending, Rob.
That's good defending. It's also, there's a good psychological battle going on between those two, where who's going to be positive. The young lad at right full-back, Thomas, wants to come forward, as we saw in the earlier movement. He's just proved again there how good he is at coming forward. Now,
Rovers looking to attack then, Bristol Rovers. I have to keep saying which team, can't just say Rovers today.
So saying that, you know, there's a big responsibility on Purnell. If he wants to keep Thomas back, he's got to attack him. If he's not, he's got to just stand when the young lad breaks forward. He's got to stay with him. That's going to be an absorbing duel, that.
Well, this match you're watching live on Sky, and of course the World Cup will be featuring very prominently indeed on Eurosport. Every second of every game you can see from the World Cup finals in Italy, so don't miss it. We'll bring you all the action from Italy. Now it's a throw to Bristol Rovers, who've recovered from the shock of conceding that early goal, and now looking for one themselves. Jones taking the throw. And Devon White then was clambering over his marker. He really is a handful, Devon White. He was spotted by Jerry Francis. In fact, when he came on as a substitute in a match that Jerry was playing in, I think then for Lincoln, and he rather disappeared from the scene then, but Jerry remembered him and went back for him some while later. And it's a decision he certainly hasn't regretted. Muir almost got it then, Yates having to watch him so carefully. White and Garlick together. Free kick this time to Bristol Rovers. But he's so competitive, Ron, it's hard to tie him down, isn't it, Devon White?
Oh, that's right. I mean, what he's got to do, he's got to punch his weight. I mean, I would imagine, well, he would do on league grounds. He wouldn't be inhibited. He'd battle and scrap for everything. He'd try and make every difficult ball his, and generally try to unsettle defenders.
Here's the free kick. White is in there, and Saunders too. Only partially cleared. Malkin scrapping then with Purnell. Here's Jones. In for Mayhew. Again marauding up front. That was a vigorous challenge. He's a scrapper, this fellow, Tony Thomas. Still a teenager, and Phil Purnell felt the full weight of that one. Jones will look for the long throw-in. Alexander's header. Alexander again. Here's Purnell. It's a neat touch off, but Thomas will get there first for Tranmere Rovers. Another chance for Vaughan Jones to hurl one in. Dean White will be the target. Twentyman has come up too from the back. Harvey playing Tranmere out of trouble well. Malkin. The break is on here. Good pass set for Steele. He didn't quite have the pace though. And Mayhew got back well to cover him. Jones. Holloway. That's the only goal so far, scored by Ian Muir early on for Tranmere. The free kick is to Bristol Rovers. Taken by Jones. This is Devon White. Support arriving from Purnell. Thomas was in the way for Tranmere.
Clever free kick, that, and that's the type of pass I think Bristol Rovers will have to use an awful lot. One dinked in down the sides of the central defenders. With the Tranmere, well, let's just watch this throw, please.
Devon White, watch for him on the edge of the 6-yard area. I think he got the touch on then. And the linesman is indicating a corner, so if Devon White did, well, then it must have hit somebody else as well.
Yes, that's a first-class example of having a big man in the middle, having a big thrower. Even if you do clear it, more often than not, you clear it into dangerous situations.
Tranmere is up there too, number 3. There's Devon White, beaten in the air though.
I was saying, Peter, what Bristol Rovers should ought to try and do if they're hitting on the counter is to try and drop balls in just behind the Tranmere fullback areas, because both fullbacks, Thomas and Mungle, are in fact pushed well on, and there is in fact space to hit there.
The throw aimed at Devon White, and the free kick is awarded to Tranmere. Devon White, who's not scored all that many goals this season, 13 in the end, and he's certainly helped lay on a few for his teammates.
You'll notice as well on those set plays that more often than not, Tranmere virtually marked Devon White with 3 players. One on the front, one at the front, trying to block anything in thrown at a slightly lower trajectory. One immediately behind, and then the spare man again looking for the second with any fall downs.
White, Hughes is with him and fouls him. Mark Hughes, who's a former Bristol Rovers player, and Hughes in fact I think has lost a bit of weight since his Bristol Rovers days, slimmed down a little, and his form was such that earlier on in the season they were talking about the possibility of a Welsh cap for him. It's Holloway with the free kick. Alexander in for Saunders, didn't quite make it though. Or then Hughes was caught by Rees. It was an untidy tackle, and I think rather unnecessary, and it may well earn Andy Rees a caution, certainly a reprimand from the referee. Ron, that was a bit nasty.
Yeah, I think it's an honest attempt to win the ball. I mean, he's so enthusiastic, that lad. He's flying about here, there, and everywhere. That he's covering ground at tempo, and he feels the ball was in the loose to be won.
So some attention needed for Mark Hughes. Already with that fractured arm, remember. Johnny King making some notes down there on the touchline. We saw Steve Coppell doing that at the FA Cup final. Seems to be a trend. Do you do that during a game, Ron? Do you make notes? Do you write
normally do.
Well,
what it is you're doing your Christmas shopping list. Then, there's a lull in the game. You might as well take advantage of it.
Crosswords, letters home.
Correct. Yeah. Anagrams. Now, what he's basically doing, he'll be putting out a few little points, just as reminders to himself. He won't be reading a long lecture or anything. A few little points when he goes in at half-time, but more or less to remind himself that what he wants to tell the players.
Steve Coppell seems to be writing the entire game, isn't he?
Oh, he's got a book coming out as well.
Saunders beaten in the air by Vickers. Vickers picking up Saunders, and Garnett is shadowing Devon White. Yates with the tackle then on Malkin. Here's McNabb for Tranmere. Muir and Steele showing themselves up front. Here's Muir now. They can't allow him to turn, and they didn't either. Looked like a shove to me, but maybe not.
That's what I think McNabb will have to do more often than not. He'll have to just drop off the game a little bit, because they are pushing in tight against him when he steps forward in midfield. So he's going to have to drop off the game a little bit to get his space. And on the 2 occasions when he's done that, he's used the ball extremely well.
15 minutes of the first half to go. Tranmere still leading Bristol Rovers by a 1-0. But here's Saunders now for Bristol. Rather nudged aside, but the referee has given only a throw. Saunders. Alexander with the cross in. Holloway challenging, beaten though by Harvey. Now Saunders. Dixon was just in there before Devon White, who came hurtling towards him. And he must have seen him out of the corner of his eye, I would think. But he stood firm. How would you fancy being a goalkeeper here with Devon White coming at you? But he held on well. Away by Twentyman. Holloway caught in possession. Malkin now. Good shot. Well struck by Steele. So both goalkeepers on duty at either end. Malkin's pass laid off. And hit first time by Jim Steele. This match coming to you live from Wembley, and we are of course sharing coverage today with the Refuge Assurance Sunday League. The match at Canterbury, that's the latest score. We'll have coverage later on. It's Kent 245 for 5. Live coverage in fact at 3:45, half-time with the match at Wembley, which Tranmere Rovers are leading by a goal to 0. Here's Jones. Played in for Saunders. Referee saw nothing wrong. And that's composed defending this time by Ian Alexander.
Yes, at the moment Tranmere are content, well, say content, they're having to defend because Bristol have got very, very busy trying to chase the equaliser. But there is always that threat, isn't there? There's always a threat then. There's always the threats. Muir, Steele and Malkin are three very, very dangerous operators up there, and Bristol have got to be sure they don't overstretch.
Hughes now, elegantly forward, but pursued by Devon White. And they really are extremely fit, Bristol Rovers. Jerry Francis has made sure of that this season. Off goes Alexander now. Played through, it's marginal. Saunders maybe hasn't heard the whistle. He thinks he's got a penalty now, he hasn't.
It was marginal, particularly in view of the fact that the lad knew he was running the risk of offside. He tried to hold his run as long as he could.
The ball was slipped through to Saunders then, and the linesman's flag was up very quickly. So there was no hesitation from the linesman, but that must have been very close.
You also saw the problems Tranmere would have had when Hughes had stepped out from his sweeper's role to try and join in the attack. Tranmere had lost possession, and to be fair to Bristol Rovers, they sprung it back very, very quickly. They're very unlucky there not to get back on terms.
Alexander was caught then as he played the ball through, and Saunders just offside.
Wasn't as far off as that looks. It was very, very narrow.
So a let off bully then for Tranmere. Disappointment for Bristol Rovers, and Ian Alexander needing some treatment. One of the regulars in the Bristol Rovers side. They've rated one of the best right backs in the division. He's been converted from a winger really by Joey Francis. This assortment of bargain buys and free transfers in the Bristol Rovers side. Charlie King, who broke the club's record when he signed Neil McNabb earlier in the season, £125,000. I wonder what's going through his mind now as he perhaps takes charge of his team for the last time. And Ian Alexander is being carried off, so it's looking rather serious. And Bristol Rovers may well have some readjusting to do. A blow they could well do without towards half-time. Al Saunders, the man who thought he'd broken through. And there it is. Well, as the ball's played, I reckon he must be level anyway. What do you think, Ron, looking again?
Oh, just about bang on level. Just about bang on level. Yeah.
Well, he had no doubts at all, the linesman.
No, he's made the right decision in all fairness.
That's Dennis Madgwick. Doug Charnley and Dennis Madgwick, the two linesmen and that hurts. So Ian Alexander, I wonder now if he's going to take no further part in this game. 9 minutes of the first half to go, and his team a goal down. That goal scored by Ian Muir after 10 minutes of the first half. And there he is, Ian Muir. Here's Vickers. Looking for Steele. Out-jumped though by Twentyman. Harvey now. Crunching challenge by Twentyman. Now Saunders away. Devon White was up with him. I think the pass may have been slightly overhit anyway, but it didn't reach the target. Harvey with McNabb. It's lovely skill from McNabb. Steele.
Because that's something Bristol daren't allow. They daren't allow Harvey and McNabb to get a set of any passing rhythms. Otherwise they'll cut them to ribbons in the middle of the field.
Steele. McNabb now. Or Harvey rather. McNabb was away to his right. Here's Thomas. Back there helping out Purnell. Holloway for Bristol Rovers. First signing by Jerry Francis. £10,000 he cost from Brentford, and Jerry paid that out of his own pocket. Well, they're strapping him up, so perhaps he's going to come back on again. If he does, he's going to be in some pain, I would think. But with only a few minutes to half-time now, Ron, would you bring him back on, or leave it a minute or two?
Well, what they'll know down there, they'll know to a certain extent the limit of the injury, and it is encouraging, because if there'd have been a problem, they'd have whipped him straight off and put the sub straight on.
But for the moment, Bristol Rovers down to 10 men. They're probing here around the Tranmere penalty area. Jones again to take the throw. They'll look for Devon White. He didn't make it though. Away comes McNabb. Finding Harvey. Good understanding between the two. And slipped lightly then into the path of Mundell. Here's Malkin. Is this the second? Well saved by Brian Parkin.
Oh, that would have been a brilliant counter-strike. Tremendous run through the middle of the field from the left full-back Mundell.
Well, that was exhilarating football then by Tranmere.
Good ball right into the path of Malkin. He really ought to have got more purchase, and he ought to have given that more of the gun, but great move from the defensive position.
Well, it could have been a second goal, but the cheer from the Bristol Rovers fans now will tell you that Ian Alexander is back on the field, although I have to say he's still limping, so I think he's going to need some more attention before he can make
I think he'll get to half-time and nothing.
Devon White couldn't turn quickly enough though. Good tackle. Came in from Ghana.
He's going off, Peter.
I think Alexander, well, he's made a stab at it. No, he's turned around again. He still stayed on. There he is, but quite clearly, a look of anguish on his face suggests that he won't be able to go on for too long. Jones with the throw. Didn't reach Devon White. Reached to pump it back in. Mayhew. Half a chance, no more. 5 minutes to half-time. Alexander still hobbling badly. Eric Nixon has kept a clean sheet so far in this first half. That one tremendous save early on from Carl Saunders. Steele got the header on. Yates was there. Here's McNabb. Former Manchester City, Brighton and Tottenham player. Bolton too, and Morton, so he's been around Neil McNabb. And Johnny King was saying beforehand that his value really has been in the dressing room. It's been great to have him there. He's such an influence on those around him. Johnny King's team in a satisfactory position, certainly. Bristol Rovers very much in this final. Saunders crowded out. Holloway. Good early ball for Saunders. Hughes had gone with him.
I was just about to say with Hughes, I think he's had an outstanding first half as a sweeper. He hasn't played as a lot of English teams do when they play with a so-called sweeper, nothing more than a third centre-back. He's actually given a lot of depth and a lot of cover to the Tranmere back line.
Reading the game very well, isn't he?
Reading it very well and not afraid, although it nearly cost them a few moments ago, not afraid to step out with the ball as well.
Very nearly reached Muir then. Slight misunderstanding at the back from Bristol Rovers. They've got away with it. And here's Rees. It's an aimless pass though. Easily dealt with by Hughes. 3 minutes of the first half to go. Jay Francis, rather animated down on the bench. Plenty of effort from his team, but they've really only had a couple of definite chances, the best of them to Saunders.
Actually, I'm just wondering now when Alexander went to walk off again, you know, whether he was told from the bench, you stay there till half-time and see it through for us. Then we'll make a decision.
Well, he's certainly still out there. Only just. Free kick to Tranmere. Jerry Francis's assistant, of course, has been Kenny Hibbett. Now, Kenny has just taken on the job of Warsaw manager, but they were so anxious that he still played a part in the big occasion today that they persuaded him to stay on for the weekend. And Kenny, I'm sure, was delighted to do so. Harvey. Here's Purnell. Devon White trying to shake off Garnett, who's stuck so close to him. Into the last 2 minutes of the first half. Mungo, long-serving player, very experienced defender.
Yeah, one of the problems, and all credit to Tranmere for this, they've stopped Bristol getting high up the park and putting in.
Steele, just to interrupt you there, Ron. Rather too delicately there across by Steele. I think he was looking for Muir.
Good situation thrown away by the look of it, but that's something that Bristol Rovers haven't done. They haven't got far enough up the field to produce crosses. I mean, most of the things they've tossed into the box have actually been through a corner or a throw-in. You know, I just wonder whether people like Mayhew or Purnell could get higher up the field and produce crosses that would make Devon White far more effective. At the moment, he's playing with his back to the goal. He's too far out for a lot of his headers to be effective.
Yes, they haven't got away down the flanks enough yet, Bristol Rovers. Let's see what they do for this free kick here. Holloway taking it. Again, as Ron was saying, it's not too difficult for defenders to deal with that kind of ball. Here's Jones now. In for Saunders. Steele got away from Alexander, from 20 rather. And Steele pulled up. He's got an injury now. Almost at half-time. Mungo. Thomas. Alexander, who's still limping. Devon White had the strength to ride one tackle, but not the second. And then he did win it back again. Mayhew now. It's good play by him. And then Garnett able to cut out the run. Mayhew complaining to the referee. And I think he was allowed the advantage then. Well, somebody's in the wars there. That's Jeff Twentyman this time. So Bristol Rovers with some catching up to do at half-time. And I think they are trying to make one substitution. Paul Nixon is waiting over on the far side. We are into the last few seconds of the half. Purnell, Saunders, Vaughan Jones. And it's Alexander who's coming off. To be replaced by Paul Nixon. And he's getting quite an ovation from the crowd. He battled gamely on, but there was no way really that he could continue in that condition. So on comes the New Zealand international, Paul Nixon. He's a Geordie actually, but he's been capped by New Zealand. useful man to have in your squad. We've now had 1 minute of time added on for stoppages. Most of that concerning the injury to Ian Alexander, who's now been replaced then by Paul Nixon. And it's looking, Ron, as if he's going to slot in certainly on the right side, perhaps into Alexander's position.
Yes, at the moment looks a 1-for-1 change.
Paul Nixon, who really plays as a wide player on the left. No doubt there'll be some reorganising at half-time, and some strong talking, I would think, too, from Jerry Francis. On from Devon White, Mungle turning away, out of trouble. Here's Steele. We've now had 2 minutes of injury time. We'll hit some space for Vaughan Jones. Holloway. Devon White. Garnett, as ever, is with him. And he really is doing a fine job, Sean Garnett, keeping a close eye on Devon White. And it's the all-white here of Tranmere now. What a lift a second goal would give them before half-time. Jimmy Harvey. Here's McNabb. Now for Steele. Harvey. Now can Malkin get his cross in from here? Patient approach play from Tranmere. 3 minutes into time added on. Little flick through in search of Muir. Thomas took a deflection. Goal kick. So referee Vic Callow, I think, is going to allow the trainer on again to have a look at the wound on the face of Jeff Twentyman. Son of the old Liverpool scout, of course, Jeff Twentyman.
That's right, his old man will tell him he's got to carry on playing. They breed him tough up there. Just looking at it very quickly, it looks very much as if the substitute Nixon is actually going to play more as an orthodox right-sided winger. And I think it's Reece is going to drop into the back four. They've even looked as if they've flirted with the idea of playing with a sort of sweeper, using 20-man more as a spare man at the back. Similar, in fact, to the way Tranmere are playing.
Certainly Reece has dropped back, that's for certain. Devon White. Here's Nixon now. Rather tentative pass though from him. Still trying to find his Wembley legs. Nixon now. Good early ball in towards Devon White. Nixon's lost it. Agonisingly over the top. It's a goal kick. But there again was the menacing figure of Devon White going in, and Nixon rather lost that one.
Well, they say only takes a second to score. We're all looking for half-time one each, and that's arguably their best chance of the half. I fancy Devon White to make on the end of this. He hasn't quite made on it, but it's a very, very good opportunity for, who's it, Purnell?
Purnell over the top.
Oh, that was a great chance to square the match there.
So Tranmere hanging on in the dying seconds of the first half.
That is in fact the first good cross, good deep cross of any sort that I think White's had to feed on.
He looked very dangerous indeed on that one. We've now had 5 minutes of injury time. Played by Vic Callow. Steele with a header. Yates just got in first. As Malkin looked to make his mark up front for Tranmere. Whistles from the Tranmere supporters. They want the half-time whistle to blow. Not yet, though. He has got a watch out there, Ron, has he? He's looking at it now. He wants the throw to be taken. The Tranmere players quite happy to settle for half-time. And there is the whistle now. So the one goal dividing the two teams, scored early on by Ian Muir. Bristol Rovers with a couple of very good chances, but it's Tranmere who go in at half-time with that one-goal advantage. We'll be back with cricket after the break, and of course the whole of the second half coming up from Wembley too. Join us again.
Welcome back to Wembley on a very warm May afternoon. Venue today for the Leyland Daft Cup final between Tranmere Rovers and Bristol Rovers. The score at half-time, Tranmere leading by 1-0. Perhaps surprising a few people there. They were the underdogs. We can have a look at it. It came in the 10th minute and it fell to their leading goal scorer, Ian Muir. High ball here and a real poacher's goal, this one. Although I think Parkin in the Bristol Rovers goal may be a little upset. Here he goes. Not over quick enough, and a cracking way to start the match that for Tranmere. 1-0 the half-time score. Players now in the dressing rooms, no doubt taking on fluids as it is very warm. Maybe a little too warm for football, but just right for cricket. We'll be back with the whole of the second half live in a moment, but first let's cross to Canterbury, where the refuge assurance game between Kent and Yorkshire is in progress. The score at the moment, Kent made 245 for 5 in their first innings. Yorkshire currently 3 for no wicket in the third. Your commentator, Tony Gregg. And welcome back to Wembley for the Leyland Daft Cup final between Tranmere Rovers and Bristol Rovers. The half-time score, Tranmere leading by 1-0. We'll have the whole of the second half live just after this short break. Welcome back to Wembley and live coverage of the Leyland Daft Cup final between Bristol Rovers and Tranmere Rovers. Tranmere lead by 1-0. The second half just moments away, so let's straight away join our match commentators, Ron Atkinson and Peter Brackley.